the Football Mental Health Alliance podcast, a mental health podcast for grassroots football. Our aim, to boldly delve into the intersection of mental health and football. We feature notable experts and ex-pros who are not afraid to share their wisdom and personal journeys with mental health.
Right, so Alex Walmsley, chairman of Sands United West Yorkshire and all over the headlines at the minute. Welcome to the Football Mental Health Alliance podcast. Really appreciate you doing this, pal. Before we kick off, just give us a bit of intro about who you are, why you're here, what you're up to.
So I'm Alex Walmsley. Obviously, I've come on board with the Vault and the Football Mental Health Alliance on the back of recent success for the team and myself. I started this team back in 2020 after my wife and I unfortunately lost 3 babies in 3 separate pregnancies, as well as my mum losing my brother when I was 6 years old. And I didn't look after myself correctly when that happened. I know I didn't, looking back now, and I needed an outlet and I needed some support and I needed to process what had happened. So I set up the football team to kind of grieve through football with other men that have also been in a similar situation. So it started in 2020, then we obviously went into lockdown as everyone else, but we kept going and we kept thriving, and we got loads of players signed up even during lockdown, just based on what the initiative was, and now we're getting bigger and bigger than ever. It's really good that all this kind of, what we're doing today and the award that I've won, it's helping people find the team, which is ultimately, my main objective is getting to the dads that need the support.
Brilliant. So when you mentioned then, mate, about you weren't looking after yourself, can you expand on that? Are you okay to, explain how it impacted you and what happened?
I repressed a lot of the emotions around it, and I think I definitely did that when I was 6 as well. Obviously, I didn't consciously do that, but when you're 6 years old, and looking back now, I'm in therapy. We've had multiple discussions that it's potential that my mind has blocked it out, for kind of to protect myself. And when it's happened to me, obviously as a father, I've not really looked at what's happened. I haven't processed the emotions. I haven't let myself feel it. And I think that comes down to this kind of stupid mentality that we've had for so long around men have to be strong ones, and you can't be sad, and you've got to look after your wife, you've got to get back into work. Why, all these kinds of silly things that are said to you as you're kind of growing up. And, thankfully it's less and less now. What we're doing today, and the Mental Health Alliance is just proof that we're moving forward and we're starting to look after people, but we're not there yet. And I kind of fell down that path of just sucking it up and putting on a brave face. And really, the biggest strength you can do is to be vulnerable and to process your emotions, and because that's so much better for you. It's better for your wife or your partner or whoever it may be. It's better for your kids. It's just better all around, because you will be a better version of yourself when you're processing what you need to, and not hiding away or repressing it.
At what point did you know that you, as you put it, weren't yourself, or that you were struggling? Is there something that happened? Because a lot of people go down this path, don't they, Alex, for a long time?
Yeah.
What, and I don't know how long the period was, but what came to you that thought, I need to do something about this?
So we had the pregnancies where we lost, and they were all pre 2017, 2018. And then we were pregnant in 2019 with my second son, Toby, and he was born in March 2020. And because of what had happened with the previous pregnancies, my anxiety was just through the roof. I didn't like my wife driving in the car by herself. I didn't like her going places by herself when she was pregnant. It was just crazy. And I ended up speaking to the doctor and going on some medication to kind of level me out. But what you find, or what I found anyway, when it came to the medication, was that I wasn't up or I wasn't down. I was just nothing.
Yeah.
And my wife actually said to me, you know, Toby had been born and we were in the initial stages of kind of having him around, and obviously we had a lot of time with him because we were all locked in his houses. And she said, you're just not enjoying bits. You're not sad. You're not getting mad. You just don't see. You just seem dull. And I knew that the medication was masking it, and it made me think I need to be myself, and the only way that I can do that is by letting these things in that I'm trying to get rid of with the medication or the repression, process them through, work through them, and try and get a bit of a personality back, because I didn't directly kind of feel like I was losing my personality. I wasn't trying to do that, but slowly I was just ebbing away.
Yeah.
And I knew that that's what I wanted for me or for my family. You know, I just had my second child, and I just was numb to it. It was I knew that I needed to do something, and that's why I took the steps that I did. I came off the medication with the doctor's support, which I'll just say, if anybody ever does that, don't just come off, and you've got to do it properly.
Taper it down.
So I spoke to the doctor, made sure I did the right thing in terms of that. And then things started to come through, and that's when I saw the opportunity for SANS and realised that I could throw a lot of what had happened to me into this and create a legacy for my children, which I've said this numerous times, that they're not getting older, but the team is, and that's there for them. And it's such an amazing thing that because they're not here, all these men getting supported that wouldn't have before. And I really don't like to blow my own trumpet, and I'll find this quite difficult, but I do like the fact that the best thing that came out of them, unfortunately not being here, is the team.
Yeah. Well, that's such a positive way of looking at it, isn't it, Alex? And like, you know, a lot of people would struggle for that. I'd struggle for that, mate. It's happened to me. You know what you've experienced. Well, me and my wife, it's happened to us. And I think, like you said about you, lots of suppressed it and locked it away. I had, and like until we had that conversation on phone, that first conversation, I'd sort of not forgotten it had happened to us, but it wasn't there. And then we started talking, it all came back, and I'm thinking, I was struggling to keep myself together when we were talking on phone. And that was probably, I don't know how many years ago it was, but years of suppression that I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And I think I've done it consciously, subconsciously, locked. I'm always looking forward, me, and as a result, I block out all the great stuff that has happened and have done, and I also block out the bad. So by blocking out the bad stuff, I block out all the good stuff as well, you know. And I'm just always looking forward and not looking back. And our first conversation really made me think about that and stuff like that. So yeah, you've experienced, you know, this awful situation with you and your wife, and you've realised that. First, I think it's been great that you've realised you need to do something. You've gone on to the meds, and then it's made you realise, and your wife realised, that that's not the way forward for you. And meds for some people, and for a lot of people, is the way forward. But for you, you saw that it was, if you like, negating your personality. So how did Sands United come about then? How did you find out about them, and what happened?
So I was watching, doom scrolling through Facebook like you do, and I saw Greg James had a bit of a feature on his radio show where they'd given an award out to the guy at Sands United Brighton, and I'd done in, oh God, I can't remember the years now, but I did the Leeds 10K twice in 2 separate years. What I tried to do was try and do an event for each child. So I did the Leeds 10K 1 year, then I did it again, and then the same year I did it the second year. I did a Manchester Rough Runner. So I've done 3 events for my 3 children, but I always did those for SANS, and I always raising money for them. And I made a massive amount, really. I was blown away by how much kind of people were so generous. I almost didn't do the second Leeds 10k because I did the Manchester Rough Runner the week before. I fell off one of the obstacles and broke a rib. Right. I thought, how am I supposed to run 10k now? But I actually did it and beat my first time, which was great. So I'd kind of had a relationship with Sands from the things that I'd done. My business do something called match funding, so I'd had conversations with them more than maybe a typical kind of fundraiser would do. And then we got married in 2018, and for our wedding favours we had Sands pin badges. Right. So kind of raising awareness there, even at his wedding, and I just felt like that was a nice thing to do. So I've been around it a lot, and we've been supported by them. And when I saw this award for Andy down at Brighton, I thought, oh, that's amazing. And I just sent a Facebook message and said, look, how do I get involved? And he directed me towards Sands, and Sands said, look, there's a team in Doncaster, there's a team in Stockport, so you can go to either one of them. And I went, that don't really work for me. And I went, I'll tell you what, I'll make one then. So they went through all the process and kind of referrals and references and stuff, and then we finally were formed in late February, early March 2020, as Sands United Huddersfield originally, and then we've taken over kind of West Yorkshire, just because I've got lads from all over, from Pontefract, Wakefield, Todmorden, Pudsey, so it felt right to have the West Yorkshire out in Huddersfield, just because that's where we all come from. So yeah, that's how it all came about, really. And I didn't really have a clue what to do when I first started. There's a lot more there now for new Sands teams, but back then there wasn't a lot in terms of guidance, and it was just me and my brother, I think, was joined eventually down the line, but I just got one player at a time, and it just kind of came from there. So a lot of the people that have joined the team, I've never known before. It's not like I had a load of mates that I played footy with and just started the team. It was all very generic and very what's the word? Authentic. It just came from guys obviously out there needing the support.
Yeah, just make it up as you go along, and that's sometimes the best way to build stuff, mate. Innit? Go on your instincts. Just work on your instincts. And
there were a lot of time that during the initial kind of Toby being born and lockdown, I spent a lot of time on the PC, kind of on the laptop, so making up images for social media, making up posts, and I did a lot of grinding it out to just kind of raise awareness and get out there. And what it's like yourself, trying to get traction on social media and stuff like that can be really difficult. So that was the main objective, was to try and get into people's kind of sphere or in eye line, so that I could get them to either they're a dad that needs support, or somebody that knows somebody who needs support, and that was objective number one.
So how many players have you got now then?
I think we're just about 40.
40?
Maybe, 40 to 45, I think, total on the books. The way it works, obviously, we play each week against each other, and then we have friendlies with local teams, local Sands teams. We've got a tournament that we do every year, which is a Yorkshire and Lincolnshire tournament. But I think what's also key to it is the football's there as kind of this is our conduit towards grieving and getting the mental health support. But I've got dads that don't necessarily love football, they don't know how to play football, but they're there in the group.
Yeah.
So you can still be part of this team and be supported, even if you don't play every week. But you might, and you're always welcome to play whenever you want or do whatever you want. The other social side of it that we do, organising events and stuff. So it's very much an open door to anybody, and the door remains open throughout.
So, as far as playing football and mental health, how have you seen that football is aiding people's mental health around? Obviously there's a grieving process. but grief can then trigger other areas of mental health, can't it? How have you seen that football's helped that?
I think for me, football is so accessible. You basically just need trainers and a ball, don't you? Typically, you don't need anything too amazing, and it's so easy. Everybody's kicked a ball at some point in their life. Let's face it, or most people have. So it's a very easy, accessible kind of door to open or medium to use.
Yeah.
That really, what we're actually doing is we're doing the grieving, the cathartism through talking about football and talking about what's gone on. That the football is really just kind of I don't know what the word is. It's kind of a red herring because we're not there for the football. We're there for the support, really.
Yeah.
But I've seen guys, one of the main, there's quite a few different things I would say, but one of the main things that I've seen is relationships that have been created. Guys thinking that they would never, ever know how to talk to somebody about this. They're playing on the pitch with them, they're having a laugh, they're throwing in a few tackles, taking a couple of shots, building that camaraderie on the pitch that then when they're talking to each other, whether it be in the chat or face to face, they've got that relationship there. They've got that comfortable feeling. I've got dads in my team that, baby loss is quite a wide spectrum, and you can have people of all sorts of situations. And I've got two dads that both had twins where they lost one of the twins, and one of them survived.
Yeah.
And those two dads got connected. They could talk about something because it's very specific to them. So it creates these little groups within the group that can then support each other. I've had dads that have come in and said, I want to play football. I'm not interested in talking. But then 6 months down the line or 6 weeks or whatever it may be, once they've built up that relationship with the team, they're then sharing something that they've never shared ever before with anybody. Yeah. He specifically said that in one of the dads in the team. And that's from that relationship that's been built through the football. And I think without the football, you just either you're in the WhatsApp group or you say we just did meetings, you just sat around. So it can be quite uncomfortable to just walk into a room and sit in a circle and talk. Yeah. And that works for some people, and it's very successful, and don't get me wrong, but you change that to going onto a football pitch and doing a bit of exercise, which we know is good endorphins for your mental health. You already feel better. You come off the pitch, you're having a beer, and suddenly you feel like you can open up. And then later in the chat, you feel like you can open up. So I just think it's the tool that we use to create good relationships that men then feel that they can be vulnerable with each other, and get the support.
I think it goes back to everyone says this, but it's completely true. It's okay to talk, and it isn't. That is what ultimately what you're doing is you're creating a pathway to opening a door for people to talk about what they've experienced. Yeah,
it's that kind of using an event or using a
vehicle.
A vehicle for getting to that place that you can then have these good, worthwhile conversations. And that's what I needed. I knew that I wouldn't be able to talk if I just went and sat somewhere.
Yeah, I'd be saying
I needed relationships with people, and that's what the football does.
So how have you seen teammates evolve then, mentally and emotionally since they joined the club?
It's been really good. I've seen people grow themselves. So I've got younger players that are playing for children, brothers and sisters that they've lost. So I've seen them come along in maturity. I've seen them grow on the pitch. Football's got better for them, so that's been some really good success stories there. I've seen other players completely coming out of the shell, so coming in and absolutely not talking at all. And we know what football can be like. It can be quite cliquey, and people can be quite loud, and sometimes it can be quite intimidating. Whereas this team is just all about the cause. The cause stands firmly as the main thing that we're there for. And we know that we've got, things that we don't tolerate, and you know that you can come into that team and know that you will be in an environment that's safe, and there won't be anybody taking the mick out of you, unless, you know, obviously friendly situations. But you know that you're coming in and you're feeling comfortable. So I've seen guys that come in and not being particularly chatty and quite quiet, and now all of a sudden they're the ones that are taking the mick, or, you know, holding court when we're out for a drink or whatever. So
I think it's sorry, mate. It just seems to me there's that safe environment that you've said that people won't, you know, not attack you, but people won't have a go at you on your weakness, which in this instance is the loss of a child, isn't it? You know, because everyone's in that same boat. So, you know, you go in there, you might get, you know, piss taken out of you, which that is football, isn't it? If you played in a football team, the biggest part of that team bonding is the camaraderie, the crack, the banter, and a lot of that, you know, is based around, excuse my friends, taking piss out of each other. But you know you're not going to get the piss taken out of you around this subject. You're going to get support around it.
I think that's it. That's key. You know, you don't want someone taking mick out of you because you've reached out and said, "Look, lads, I'm feeling really low because it's the anniversary of the death of baby." You can go and say that into the chat, and people are going to be there because they know exactly what it's like, and they know what you need to hear at that point, or what they would like to hear. Whereas other teams, not saying that they would be disrespectful or anything, but they might not know what to say. They might look at you in a certain way because you are being vulnerable. So it's a completely different team in that sense, because we've just got this massive kind of wall around us that is, you know, we are there to support you guys.
So you know, obviously you started Sands United, it's built up, and then Sky Bet come along. Tell us about the award you won, and tell us about the Sky Bet journey.
So I got nominated by somebody in the team. They sent a really nice email to Sky Bet after seeing it, an advert for it. And I got contacted from Sky Bet, and Sky Bet said, "We've been nominated. We just need to."
What was the award? What was the award you were nominated for?
So it's Sky Bet Real Number One, which is kind of a bit of a play, I think, on obviously number one. You're typically a goalkeeper, so but it's not. It's kind of a play on the best person or the top person, and it was all around grassroots football. So you're looking at people that work or volunteer in grassroots football. So that it's that whole sphere that you're kind of in, really, isn't it? So I get that contact and I get told that I'm in it, and then they explained that production. Oh no, sorry, I had an interview with a production company and one of the producers there, and they just ran through what the team was, very similar to what we talked about here. And that went away to Sky. They made a decision to then progress further with me and the team, which meant they came along and they filmed at the where we play football. They did that twice, and then they did a day filming with me in Lower Opton at their pitch for the day. They asked to borrow them, which were really good. But this production company, man, I was expecting a couple of cameras. They had everything. They had like 4 different cameras on you at one point, massive big lights. They had a drone, so at one point I stood up in the pitch and this drone's flying around and filmed. So a really good day, actually. And then they obviously chopped all that together and put the nomination video out. And the nomination video just did amazing. It absolutely blew up. I think it got like over 250,000 views across all social media, loads of likes, loads of comments, which is just a really good thing. I had dads that have joined, I had team members that have joined because of that video. So great success there. We get one guy that joins on the back of this video, then it's amazing. So then I get told I'm down to I've been shortlisted, so I'm down for the last 5 or 6, I think it was. I can't remember. And then we had a conversation, and it was a bit cloak and dagger, and I feel like I should have twigged a bit earlier, but they had a conversation and they said, look, you know, what would you do if we were to say we want to support the team with, you know, a prize? And I mentioned about the kits and the bereavement bags that we do to put into hospitals, and then about tournaments and training. And then I get the call to say, we want a team photo. They said we need something more for socials, and we need a team photo. So can you get this many lads all across, or as many lads as you can, and come to this place in Huddersfield for this photo? So we all go along, and I tell the lads we're all there for that. But as the lads are lining up for the team photo, so some up front, some stood up at back, they took me off and said, "Oh, we need to do some recording for TikTok." So I'm doing that, and whilst I was away, they told the lads, "Alex has won. He doesn't know."
Yeah.
When he comes back, Clinton Morrison's walking out to tell him. So I walk back, and I'm thinking, none of these lads are looking at me. They're just not even like they're completely ignoring me. And then I'm stood there, and they ask me to keep moving forward and walk forward, and I'm like, I'm completely out of line with what lads there. And then Clinton Morrison walks in and tells me that I've won. But even then, when he walked out, I still didn't believe it. I still didn't think I'd won it.
No, I saw a video. I could tell by your face. Like when you said to him, "Hey, everything," you said, "Oh, everything all right?" Or "How are you?" Something like that. You said to him, didn't you? I saw your face, and I thought, I don't know what's going on here.
I felt like they might have just had him as a special guest because we've been shortlisted, and that was like a special treat or something. So, and I didn't want to go to a place where I've won, because then if I found out that it was just, I was just there to say hello, then would have been a bit disappointed. Obviously, dropped down from thinking I'd won. So then, we had to keep very quiet about it, because obviously it needed to still be chopped together and then officially released. At this point, the deliberations video hadn't been released, which was the one where Souness and Clinton and Jeff Stelling are talking about it. So we kind of sat on it for ages, and close family knew, and obviously the lads that were there on the night knew. And then they said, right, it's going live on this date, and it went live, and that blew up as well. It went completely crazy. And then Odds Bible, on a Sport Bible, picked it up on Instagram the other day, and that's about 80,000 likes and 300 comments, and another 3 lads have joined from seeing the post on Instagram.
Brilliant.
So it's gone crazy, really, and I've actually just had an email this morning asking from a TV show asking me to go on a TV show in the coming weeks.
Brilliant.
A show on Channel 4. I won't say too much because I don't know how far it's going to go, or if I can say anything. But it's just catching so much traction, and the good thing for me is it's helping dads find my team. But I've also sent one dad down to a place in Wales because that's where he lives, and then another lad who said, "I want to join your team," and I said, "Well, you can, but there's actually one in Doncaster if you want to join that." In Doncaster. So even though this might be about me, it's raising awareness about my club, and it's raising awareness about clubs all over the UK. Which is just helping dads that need that support.
Exactly.
It's the thing that I kind of maybe missed at the start is you feel very lost in this, because you are made to feel kind of out of the loss. It's very much about the woman. Even in hospital, I had some bad experiences where I was really poorly spoken to. And in the whole, the hospital and the NHS were amazing, but there was some parts where I just felt pushed out. And made to feel like it wasn't my baby too. It wasn't my loss. Which was really difficult. So you do feel quite lost and vulnerable when it happens. So you don't always know where to look or where to start. So things like this advert for Sky and this award, and then obviously what we're doing with the Mental Health Alliance and the this podcast that we're doing today, just helps spread that word and get to the people who might need that support.
Yeah, ultimately, like I say, all these awards and all this recognition is ultimately going towards greater good, which is more people being aware of Sands United. And it's not just dads, is it? It's any blokes that want to play football that's been affected by baby loss. And I think it's amazing. And in that video, mate, you mentioned the traditional male stereotype of needing to be strong. Now, what do we need to do to challenge and redefine that?
I think it's unraveling years and years of machismo, and men should be that strong, kind of silent and
get on with it.
Actually, Yeah, can't show weakness. And really, the conversations that you need to be having now, and what's really good for me and what I can do, and I do this, is I'm vulnerable and I have open conversations, and it allows the other person to then, in my mind at least, and it has happened before, they then go, all right, okay, he's opening up to me, so I'm going to open up back.
Yeah.
So just by being that open and just showing that you're willing to talk about yourself, often then people will then talk about themselves as well. But I think we just need to remove that stigma, and we need to just, call out where we think it's wrong, that somebody might be saying something where they say, oh, you said, what are you being soft for? Or, some of the stuff that I used to work in a joinery warehouse, and some of the stuff that was said there were disgusting. We've got to remove this kind of sexist kind of machismo, because, you want to have a joke, you want to have a bit of banter, but sometimes you really got to think about the things that you say and how they affect that other person, especially if they're already trying to be vulnerable and trying to look for some support. So I think it is moving away from these years and years of stuff, and trying to just change his attitudes towards people's mental health and towards vulnerability around any kind of, grief or loss, or, losing a job, losing a pet, losing anything, anything that can affect you mentally. And we've got to be allowed to be able to feel that and to process it, because otherwise you won't. And like I did, you'll just repress it and it'll do nothing for you but make it worse and worse.
Yeah, come and bite you on the ass at a later point.
Eventually, it's going to find you. You can't hide from it forever.
So, based on what you've just said, then what can grassroots football do to contribute to this larger conversation about mental health?
I think there's a lot of stuff that we can do, and I think there's obviously stuff that we're planning on doing, or that was already in the works. But I think a lot of it will be around awareness. We've already got the reason that the people are there.
Yeah.
Let's just take a little bit of time to talk about, different support that's out there, whether we talk about the team, we talk about other things that are out there in football, and we just raise that awareness. And if I was sat there and I was struggling and I didn't know what to do, and I saw that somebody was coming in and talking about, this is what we're doing to try and help mental health through football, your ears would pick up and you think, oh, I want to get involved in that. I know that I need this support.
Yeah.
But also, I think there'll be two stages. I think there'll be people where they know that they need the support. There'll be others that don't know they need the support. Yeah. Maybe a little bit, and don't be disrespectful, but like yourself, when you said that you didn't think about all what happened with your loss until we spoke the other day, it's obviously come out for you now by speaking about it. So there will be people out there that, whatever loss it may be or whatever they're struggling with, that they need to know that they might need that support. So, talking about the different effects that a situation might be having on you, and for me it was, do you feel like you're not yourself? Do you feel like your personality is slipping away? These are the questions that we can ask, and someone might say, yeah, actually that is me, I do feel like that. Well, and do I feel like that because of this? Because it's not always easy to understand why you feel in a certain way. Our bodies and brains don't say you feel like this because of this happened. You've got to figure it out for yourself quite often. And when you're already struggling, it's obviously even harder. So I think there's things that we can do and that we can get out there, and we can kind of just put some flags out there that say, do you feel like this? Do you feel like this? Would you support? Do you think you benefit from that or this? Just get into people's sphere. And I keep saying this, but awareness is so important, and it's so hard to get into people's kind of sphere. When we've already got football there, we can, as Sans are doing, we can use that football as the conduit to then support everybody's mental health. And if people don't pick it up, they don't pick it up. But we know that we've done a job and we've offered it and got there.
That's exactly what we're doing with this, mate. And that's why I approached you about being an ambassador for us. And, simply, we're using football as a vehicle to educate and support around mental health. And like you said about me, I work in this arena of mental health, but no one has all the answers. And so, like you said, I'm speaking to you, and all of a sudden this thing's going in the back of my head thinking, you're doing that. So, someone that purports to work in this industry and is I'm, obsessed by this and helping people become best versions of themselves. I didn't trigger me until you spoke, and I thought, shit, that's me. that happened to me. Boom, why am I suppressing it? What's it doing for me? And then it leads you down it can open a Pandora's box that then you start thinking, well, and so yeah, mate, I think it's simple. It's the simplest thing to do, but it's the hardest thing to do around mental health, and that's talk. And by creating a conversation around it, by clubs continually talking and highlighting mental health, that then creates a culture within that club and community of, I can talk about this, and knowing who you can talk to and things. And what we're trying to do here is have at least one person in every grassroots club mental health first aid trained. So as a person within that club or community, I know there's someone that I can go and speak to. I know that I can, open up to that person or get some advice or be signposted somewhere. So, what would you say then to someone that's struggling with grief or with, and as a result, struggling with their mental health? What would your advice be to someone, that is struggling for one reason or a number of reasons? What's the first step, would you say? And I know obviously it depends on your individual circumstances, etc.
I think the first step is with all things, whether it be addiction or struggling with mental health, is admitting to yourself that there's a problem. Because if you, and lots of people do it subconsciously or consciously, walk around saying, I'm fine, no, I'm fine, and they're lying to themselves. You've got to be truthful to yourself so that you can be your best self. And I kind of hate those kind of buzzwords like that, but you're not going to be the best version of yourself if you're suppressing something, or that you need that support. It's the equivalent of saying, I'm really hungry, but I refuse to go have something to eat. I'm not going to go to the fridge. You might know it. You might know that you need that support, and you're just ignoring it. So I think for me, it's just admitting to yourself what you need or what's gone on, and then from there, there's so many avenues. And working with you, I'm really proud that you asked me to do this ambassador role. And I think working with yourself, we can get a lot of literature and a lot of support, links, social media, to all different kind of networks that support, SANS is for baby loss, but there's other networks out there for everybody. And I think if you talk about it from a football perspective, and we're talking about grassroots, obviously within the professional sphere, we know that football teams and the best football teams have mental health support, have psychologists, sports psychologists. You want to play in grassroots football and you want to be your best footballer, I guarantee you'll be a better footballer when your head's right and you're feeling better.
100%.
Whether it be that I don't know, you're not kicking out, you're not losing your head, you're not getting red carded, or you've just got that emotional resilience when it's not going right to say, it'll happen, and you don't get yourself down, and that goal might finally come. So sport is very much about the physicality of it, but you pick up and look after your mental health as well. It'll add another layer to you. And it's the best thing all around, because you're already going to feel good from that sport, from the natural endorphin release that you're going to get. So if you do it with a good head, or your head's in a good place, you're not undoing the bad, you're making yourself feel even better.
I think, like, for me, if you talk about playing football, 90% of that's in the head, and only 10% of it's in your feet, isn't it? And I think most people forget that. For a lot of positions, it's a confidence game. So certainly if you're playing up front or in goal, it's a confidence game, is football. And what's confidence? Mental health. I had a conversation yesterday, I think I've said this to someone else, that speaking to a couple of referees the other week about mental health and stuff, and I don't really, they weren't being negative around mental health, but it were more of I don't really get it. And I said it's all right, here's an analogy for you. Your reffing game, you're running down pitch and you tweak your hamstring and you think, oh shit, I've pulled up. That's physical health, isn't it? They went, yeah, get that. I said, right, you're running down pitch and you make a call that's a bit, dodgy, shall we say, in maybe the eyes of some of the players, the coach, or the fans. At any level, could be, Sunday League 10-year-old kids or semi-professional Farsley Celtic or whatever. And you'll make a dodgy call, all of a sudden, a couple of people are on your back. And then you start doubting yourself. And every time you put that whistle to your mouth, you're thinking, is this right decision? and you hold off on some things. Have you ever felt like that? Bit anxious then about blowing whistle? Yeah, I said that's mental health.
Yeah.
I went, oh yeah, I get it. You know, and it is football's like life. 90% of life's upstairs, isn't it, Alex? How we deal with deal with everything is how you deal upstairs. So looking back at where you be. Sorry, go on.
My son's 10 years old and he's a goalkeeper through and through. Absolutely loves it. I mean, he's not the tallest kid in the world, but he loves being in there. Favourite players, Lee Nichols from Huddersfield Town.
Yeah.
And for me, we're having to kind of build up his emotional resilience, because there are times when he gets absolutely smashed and he's been in there, and all he's doing is picking ball out in there. And it's going to be a thankless task for him, because you know what it's like with goalkeepers. You make one mistake, you ruin the game, whereas a striker misses a shot, it's soon forgotten. Yeah. So I'm spending a lot of time with him as well, trying to kind of bring him up the right way and build him up the right way. And you know, one of the things that I've said is it's just a game. You know, at the end of the day, no one's going to die. It's just a game. And even at their level, they've got cup games, but the rest of the league, they don't really keep a league table. They're just doing it to progress, because that's the best thing for kids at that age. Yeah. So, you know, I'm telling him, he's telling me to score, or I've seen the score, and I've said, no one cares. We go again next week, mate. Yeah. And that's I'm trying to do that from an early stage, so that we're not in the position that me and yourself are when it comes to football, on your mental health later in life, and potentially struggling with it.
No, I'm saying with my lad. My lad's just 11 now, so he's played under 12s, and this is first season that we have now got results published, league tables, etc., etc. And I coached my lad's team, and I'd said to him, I said, look, I don't care if we win 10-1 or we lose 10-1, lads. I said, all I care about is that you work hard, you enjoy it, and you learn. The result is not. I don't care. Yeah. You've got to enjoy it. And like I said to my lad, I said, just smile. I said to him, lads, I said, look, lads, you get to play football once a week on a Sunday morning for an hour. Enjoy it. Don't come off pitch angry. You know, don't get. The more you enjoy something, the better you are at it. Whatever it is, whether it's your job, whether it's a hobby, whether it's whatever it is, just enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, you'll become a better player. If you become a better player, you'll enjoy it more. And it's like a positive forward circle, isn't it? On a wheel going forward positively.
I'm sure I've heard of Haaland said it. Haaland said, I just love playing football. Yeah. And you can see that in how he plays and how he's breaking records. So it's very right.
Just enjoy it. So looking back at where you began to where you are now, how has football influenced your personal healing journey?
For me, I think it's allowed me to address a lot of the stuff that I wasn't going to address. I've definitely processed a lot of that through. I've opened up more, whether that be with my team or my family. But then it's been very cathartic in the sense that I've gone in a weird way. I've gone, right, no, you're not going to get to me, grief. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw you over there. And I'm going to throw everything I've got into this football team. I'm going to make this bad thing that I can't get back. I can't get them back. I'm going to make it a good thing. And that journey and where I've got to now, you know, every time something like this happens, like the awards, or it makes me think that their loss hasn't been for nothing. And it could have been that I never did anything with it, but because they lost their lives, 40 plus men now have got mental health support. And that's how I kind of look at it from a really positive stance, because you can't, unfortunately, keep looking at it from a negative stance. Don't let me wrong. You completely need to feel and have those breakdowns and have that cry and you know, go to those really upset places. Yeah. But I've come out the other side of it, and one of the things that I've heard numerous times, and I stand by it, and I think it's a really good thing, or a really good thing to think about, is your grief when you lose a baby, like anything else maybe, you don't forget it, you just get better at dealing with it. And that's what I think this team's done for me, definitely, is opened my eyes to other situations. It's allowed me to offer this support that makes me feel good. You know, selfishly, if you look at it, I feel good about what I've done.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it for that reason. And loads of other guys have got support because of it. So I feel all right feeling like that sometimes.
Yeah. But that's why it's been successful, mate, because you've not done it for yourself. You've done it for other people. And as a result, it's been successful. And a byproduct to that is now you do feel good about yourself as well.
Yeah, which is fine, isn't it? I mean, I've got to accept that's going to come out.
Should do.
You know, I won an award at BBC, Radio Leeds, Bradford Sports Awards, and then obviously this award. And every time I win these awards, I'm just blown away because, you know, I never did it for this. I never did it for kind of personal satisfaction or to push my profile or do anything like that. But this byproduct that's come out is just amazing how much good is coming out of it, and I am really proud, and I know that my wife's really proud and my family, and you know, that's, you know, and as my sons grow up, I've got a 10-year-old, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. As they grow up, my kind of happiest moment will be when they're pulling on shirt and running on pitch for their brothers and sisters, because you know, obviously they don't get it now, but eventually I hope that they'll look back at what we've created as a team and kind of be proud of that legacy that's been created for the brothers and sisters.
I think like, you know, what you've done is a textbook way to create something successful. And for me, that is going and doing it for the right reasons. Have a mission, have a reason. It's not about me. This is about the cause and other people. And you do what you do, and take this out, take your example and put it into a business setting, into any setting. You set something up for the right reasons to help others and for others to benefit from it. What happens is it becomes successful and all that goodness comes back to you. And that's the universe. If you're up for that sort of thing, which I believe in, universe is giving back giving you what you've put out there, mate. And I think you're right to be proud of yourself. And I think, you know, when I saw them videos, and I know, I think I said to you, I know some lads in your Sands team, and you know, and I think some lovely words they said about you. And for me, for someone, you know, one of the lads that you're supporting put you forward for this, you know, for this award, and that tells you everything you need to know about what you've done and what that team's doing for 40 plus men every week. And I think, mate, you're the top man, and I mean that.
This is where it gets really uncomfortable because I can't take
I can tell by your face.
Yeah,
I can tell by your face. A little pause there, but no, mate, good on you. So okay then. So just to wrap up then, mate. If there's one message you'd like listeners to take away regarding the intersection of mental health and football, what would it be?
I'd say very similar to what we've just said.
Yeah.
When it comes to football, do it for the right reasons. You know, you've got to be out there to enjoy it. You know, from what we've said, get out there and have fun. Don't take it too seriously. Remember, it's a game. It will improve your mental health if you let it.
Yeah, if you let it, yeah.
And you can do some really poor things to your mental health if you don't.
Yeah.
You know, you could be walking off the pitch after having a barney with somebody, red carded, you've been fined, everybody's pissed off your team because you've let them down.
Yeah.
You know, you can go down that route very quickly with football, but if you want to take the best from it, get out there, enjoy it, look after yourself mentally as well. Address when you think you need that support, recognise that you might need to get some support, or you just even need to look at what's bothering you, and don't repress it. We've talked about repressing it a lot, and I think a lot of men do that. But be honest with yourself about what you're doing when it comes to your mental health, and if you need that support, and recognising that there's a problem. Sometimes it's easy enough as recognising that I've got a problem with this, and you can say, I've got that problem. I don't need that support. I'm just going to work differently around it, or I'm going to operate differently. And it's not about going and getting 20 sessions of therapy with a psychologist and lying down on a couch, or it's not around going, sitting in a circle in some church hall. It's mental health, successful mental health management could just be about recognising that you've got an issue and operating in a different way to avoid that issue. It is as simple as that. You know, it's the same as walking on the football pitch. You know you can't hit it with your left foot. Don't hit it with your left foot. You know that putting yourself in a certain situation is going to be poor for your mental health. Don't do that.
Don't do it,
So, yeah, the main kind of thing is just get out there, have the fun when it comes to the football. And what's really important and really good for our team is we really encourage everybody in the team. I've got a goalkeeper. Well, you take a shot against him, and it's a good shot. He'll give you props for it. You know, there's no point in getting at each other and winding each other up. You be encouraging, and like you've just said, I'm not super religious, but I am very calm, and I do think what you put out into the world will come back. And there's a saying, and I can't remember who said it, but you've got to be the change that you want to see. So if you want people to be nicer to you on the pitch, you want to be more supportive, you have to be that supporting person. You have to be that nice person. And if you want that mental health support from people, then you can be vulnerable with people and offer them that mental health support. And what you put out will come back. I do feel that really, really strongly.
I do, mate. Spot on. Totally agree with you. And I think, like, my take on it is like you said then earlier, everyone's different. So some people it's sat in a group, some people it's going to a counsellor. My take on it is mental health's like your fingerprint. It's completely unique to you. So you have different ways of support and everything. So Alex, where can we find Sands United? Where can we find your team? Just give us a few areas where we can look you up before we finish.
Yeah, so the Sands United West Yorkshire, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. So just reach out to us on there. A message, if a message comes through on whatever kind of platform it is, it'll be me or my wife that discuss it with you, typically myself. And I'll go on to have a conversation with you, and then from there you kind of just enter the team and take as much or a little support that you need from it. So it is a really simple situation. It's no great entry that you need to do, and you don't even need to tell me anything about your loss, unless you want to. And if you do, you can then join the team, and you don't have to tell those lads. If you've told me, then that's between us. And then if you join the team, you don't have to go into the full story. It's not like that. It's literally share as much as you want and as much of yourself. But yeah, all the social medias, other than Fred's, I don't think we've figured that one out yet. But yeah, we're all over that. And obviously the video for Sky Bet is all over their social media and YouTube as well.
Brilliant. And like Sands United have got their own. So if you just Google Sands United, that'll come up. And if anyone contacts you outside of West Yorkshire, you can signpost them to their nearest group as well, can't you?
Yeah. There's if you Google Sands United, it comes up to the main Sands page that's within the charity, and there's a map on there that you could literally find your closest team, and it's got contacts to your closest team. But I always feel, do what's comfortable for you. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll point you in the right direction. But yeah, there is that resource up and down the country, Scotland, Northern Ireland, all of Ireland, I believe. And these teams are typically started by dads that have lost. So you're very, very much in similar circumstances. They know what you've been through, and they're there to support you. And if you want to set up a team, like I did, then it's not simple to do, but it's an easy process after taking all the steps. But it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And if there isn't a team near you and you feel like it's something that you want to do and can do, then look at that. It's something that I have absolutely loved, and I would highly recommend it.
Brilliant. Alex Walmsley, thanks so much for this. It's been amazing, mate. Really enjoyed listening to you. I'm sure everyone else will. Alex Walmsley, multi-award winning Alex Walmsley. I know you're going to be uncomfortable with that. Thanks very much, pal. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers, bud.